I think that we must remember, especially because you and I have the responsibility of shaping a consumer perception about what we do, that the multi-million dollar beauty industry is fueled by fear. If we were never taught that we need 70 products a day to make something that we have look better, then we wouldn't use them.
Okay, guys, I was dying to have Anisha here. If you guys are all about clean beauty, if you're all about entrepreneurship, if you're all about people who didn't have the easiest path, but are sitting here now and can tell you how successful they are and how proud it makes me to have her here. Like, you guys have no idea. I'm like so freaking excited. I've been hunting this woman down for a very long time. Dia, my producer, has been hunting her down. So today I'm really, really, really excited because you guys know I'm all about beauty and skincare and makeup. And we have the queen of clean beauty sitting right here. Hello.
It's a very big honor, but thank you. Excited to be here.
How are you today?
I'm excited. It's been a big week.
Okay, so I want to talk to you about your week. So I know that you said in a week or so you have another competition. You won one, right?
The next one is on the 14th of October at GITEX.
Okay, so tell me about the competition that you just won.
So it's an organization called TIE, which is a global community for startup founders, for investors, and they do a lot to support the community, build the ecosystem. And there is a huge focus on women entrepreneurs in this region in comparison to the rest of the world. So the UAE finals happened 2 days ago. And so we won that.
Oh, congratulations.
And thank you. And I'm going to pitch at GITEX on the 14th of October. It's nerve-wracking because it's a very big stage.
Wow.
It's the world's biggest startup conference for investors and innovation-led companies of the future.
Wow.
It's quite intimidating.
First of all, how did you get to that competition, and how do you prepare yourself for the other one that's coming up?
Well, I'll answer the first question for you because I don't have an answer yet for the second one. They're assigning a coach for me to prep.
Oh, wow. It's that serious.
It's that serious.
Wow.
But they're also very organized. I've been a part of TIE since I moved here. And it's a very well-connected group of people. And a lot of them work pro bono in order to build the voice of entrepreneurship in this region. And they started something called the UAE MENA program for women to encourage more women to become founders. And I've been pitching since 2021. We won a few competitions in the past as well. But 3 years ago, I went and pitched on the same stage and I lost the UAE finals. And the feedback I was given then by them, I worked on that feedback. I raised a lot more money. I came back to pitch again and then I won it.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
So for the people who don't know exactly what it is and how it's going to help you, so let's say you win. How is that going to help you and your company? Like, what's the
exposure?
Exposure
is important. We're at this scale where we're looking for strategic investments, people who understand what we do and where we're taking it in the future. And it's also an opportunity to see what else is coming out of different regions in terms of technology, innovation, and women being on the forefront of it is very exciting. I don't think I've ever won a global competition. Makes me very proud yet. It makes me very proud to represent UAE if we get to that stage. I would like to bring home the trophy. This is home for me.
You will. We're manifesting it right now. It's. Can you take this? Sorry. So let me go from the beginning. You're originally from India.
Yes, I was born in Kashmir.
Nice. And then you moved to Dubai about 6 years ago. But before you moved to Dubai, right, I know your family is from the hotel industry, right? And they wanted you to be in the same field like your dad and your family, which you did. But then sadly, your dad passed away, right? And I feel like in that moment, like maybe your wings started and you're like, you know what? Now it's a time for me to go after what I always wanted. So when you did that though, right? You're young, free, ambitious, know exactly what you want, and then the world slaps you with cancer. Take me to that place when you knew, what you wanted to do, when you had the, because I know as a Middle Eastern girl, as a Middle Eastern, when you go against your parents and what they want, it's always hard, right? Because they feel like they know what is good for you. So how was that for you when you decided, you know what, I'm gonna go after my dreams, and to the point where you found out that you have cancer?
Since you're very closely connected to my culture, there's a very big, deep relationship between the Arab world and the Indian world in terms of spices, in terms of um, the medicinal advantages, and also the way that we grow up, and
Right.
how girls are meant to do something and the boys are meant to do something different. But my father raised me like a boy.
Same.
That's why we are the way we are. The whole tomboy bit comes from there. There was nothing that I couldn't do. There's nothing that I was stopped from. His only request was that I continue on his path. So when I was going to start my undergrad, I did a deal with him. I said, if you let me study English literature and economics and psychology and Greek theater, metaphysical poetry, I promise when I graduate, I will go and work in hotels. Because he wanted me to do a hotel management program. And I said, I know everything about what it is like to grow up in this environment. Why do I need to go to a hotel management program? I was I was his princess, so he agreed. I did that program where I blossomed. I think a lot of the way that I think has been shaped by what I read and what I learned in those earlier years without having the pressure of getting into law or medicine or engineering, which was the usual platter of professional accomplishments. So when I graduated, he said, you're going to start at the bottom. So I was a receptionist. And
Wow.
night shifts and standing on your feet, but I realized that I had a flair for language, for people. I was always very curious. I, believe it or not, was a shy child.
Really?
I was not very
I could
talkative.
never tell.
I would read. I had lots of little pets and animals because a few properties that he was taking care of had the advantage of having deer, parrots,
Right.
peacocks, rabbits. And I would read a lot, and I was shy, and I was very different. 5.5 years of working in hotels, he died, and I lost all interest in continuing that. And I wanted to go to the States. At the time, the States was, oh my God, the land of the opportunity
Right.
that is waiting for you. But I thought that I would do a bachelor's of business administration, and I started working towards it. But then cancer came later because I was busy building my career in luxury retail and fashion. I discovered that I loved being in that environment. Because I was alone a lot, I used to watch a lot of videos. I used to tear up Vogue magazines and, like every little girl, be
Right.
very curious about that world and what it would be like. Very Devil Wears Prada. Uh, you asked me what it was like. I was about to leave for my business school that I'd worked very hard to get into. Now it's the year 20, 2009, 2010. And I was working with the luxury menswear brand Ermenegildo Zegna, and I launched that in the country. Interestingly, if I look back, there are a lot of things that I launched and built. However, working with companies that already existed, whether it was hotels or whether it was Zegna, whether it was Amazon, I didn't know it at the time, but I became like an intrapreneur before I became an
An
entrepreneur.
entrepreneur?
When you're building something
Yeah.
internally within the larger
I don't think
gambit,
I've ever heard that before. That's interesting.
you build from the inside.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
And a few weeks before I was about to leave, a very prestigious newspaper called Times of India, like you have the Khalij Times here, every country has the Times, did a feature on women marketing managers that were working in companies that sold to men, like cars,
Right.
watches. And I was the head for marketing for fashion, for menswear, right? I remember it was the 11th of July, and I had quit my Xenia job and I was preparing to go to school when I missed my period for a couple of months. And I knew I hadn't been naughty. So I said, this doesn't make sense. And I had PCOS, and I realized a very big part of my mission is to tell women not to take their daughters to gynecologists who just give them a medicine for PCOS, because you don't know how it's going to show up later. You're only fixing a temporary problem.
Right.
And it started to throb. The lump started to throb. I had a lump on the right hand side of my breast. And my bestie said, listen, you're leaving in a few weeks anyway. Your tickets are done. Your seat is ready. All I wanted was to go to that business school. Today, it's the best in the world. That's all I wanted. I just wanted a shot at life again. And it turns out that it was breast cancer in stage 2,
Wow.
like an intermediate stage. And no one in my family had chemotherapy. I had to look it up. We're talking 15 years ago.
Right.
And no one was freezing their eggs. There was no support for young women, because it's only the older women who've had their children that go through this.
Right.
The incidence of young people
Right.
having breast cancer, especially when it's not in the family, was very low. So I was the gene, the mutant gene. I mean, there's a lot of humor right now, but at the time it was horrible. And my mother reminds me that I treated it like a cold, because I wrote to school and I said, I'm coming in 6 months. I just need to take this treatment. And they said, it's not going to be 6 months. We'll have to put you in the next year. And I went through surgery, chemotherapy.
But when you found out in that moment,
Yeah.
right, the doctor was telling you,
Yeah.
where were you exactly and what was going through your head in that moment?
My bestie, who's a writer and a yoga guru now, she was with me in the hospital. And when I was being told, it felt like I was in a foreign language movie.
Oh.
And I didn't know what life would look like. I didn't know anything about the disease. I was in my 20s. What do we know about chemotherapy and how you might not be able to have children later, and what the effects of the surgery are going to be? And you have a beautiful body in your 20s, and how is that going to show up in terms of scars? Suddenly you're thinking about all of these things and not knowing what life will look like. I would like to think that today, 15 years later, I'm a good example that life can be beautiful after you have to run towards something really hard in order to run away from something. So at the time, I ran away from what I was going through towards what I wanted, and that was school.
Wow. And then when you were done with chemo, right?
I had 8 rounds of chemo.
8 rounds.
8 rounds.
I don't know much about, like, what does that mean?
The strength of the dose, so the more rounds you have, the more progressive the cancer is. And in young people, it's a lot more progressive.
Wow.
So I had 8 cycles.
Okay.
And it's brutal. It's brutal because I would like to believe that cures exist and gentler treatments exist, but then what would Big Pharma do if that got out?
Right.
Um, it was very hard. My hair started to fall. In defiance, I shaved my head and I realized that I had a really beautiful round head. I was like the captain of the Mensa team, looked very like an alien. It's really interesting that, when your lashes drop and your brows drop and your hair drops and you look like an alien, with a haunted look on your face, and nothing that was beautiful about you, or so you thought, exists, and you're only in your 20s. It's polarizing. But the husband of Persis Kambata, do you remember Persis Kambata? Star Trek. She shaved her head, really, really beautiful celebrity. He came up to me. It's bizarre. And he said that I've only seen one other woman look beautiful with a shaved head. Because my wife was bald for the show.
Right.
And I said, who's your wife? And he says, Persis Kambata. To be compared to her, I was like, I don't mind being bald. This suits me. I think other people get uncomfortable because they don't know what to say to you when you're going through this, but they
Right.
want to be there for you. But
Right.
they are blocked in their communication. So you have to put them at ease by making jokes about your boobs and your cancer, and you have to be naughty and ask for presents so that you can milk it.
I love that. I love that because I got into situations as well when my either family member or friends had cancer, and then you just don't know exactly, because you don't want to say like, oh, I'm sorry, or you don't want to be like, there's no kind of words that would match in that moment. So you saying that, I love that. So when you were going through chemo and you were going through all of that, I'm sure it changed you as a human being, even though you were positive about it and you were light about it. Like,
Not all the time.
not all the time, right?
You couldn't be.
Exactly. So how would you say like changed your personality or your personality towards other people, yourself? Like, were you in that moment looking at your life like, oh my God, like I need to change certain things. Like I don't want to be here. What was your mindset in that
I
moment?
was frustrated. I felt
Right.
hopeless. It was very dark. I felt I was a burden on everyone who loved me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why?
I think, and this has happened to me recently as well, people who are going through something where they might be depressed or hopeless or sad or dejected go into hiding because they don't want to be an emotional burden to the people that love them, who make time for them on the phone or to meet. It's like a wolf that gets injured will not walk with the herd because
Right.
they don't want to slow the herd down, and they don't want to attract predators because they're bleeding. So at night, the female wolf goes into the cave and licks her wounds. That's what licking your wounds means.
Yeah.
At the time, I knew that I didn't have the money to go to school. And so I worked very hard to get a scholarship, and I hawked my inheritance to get a bank loan to go to school.
Wow.
And I didn't have a father, boyfriend, or brother taking care of me while I was sick. It was just me and my mom. So in India, 15 years ago, imagine someone in their 20s without a male support trying to go to the hospitals and line up meetings and to decide what's the best course of action, manage the finances, fight with the insurance agents. It was rough. I didn't have a choice. I have a lot of people telling me, my God, I couldn't do it. No, you can do it. The human spirit is very resilient. If you want to live and you want to see what's stored on the other side, then
You
you
will fight and do it.
find a way to get to it.
You know, it's interesting. So when I mean, you guys all know, I am pregnant. When I found out that I am pregnant, I got into heavy depression. I'm one of those women, and I got into very, very heavy depression for about 2 months, and I was hiding. I was hiding because I was like, I don't know what's going on with my body. I don't know what to expect because it's my first time, and I felt exactly what you were saying. Like, you don't want to be a burden towards your friends or family, and because of that, like, I can see in my whole pregnancy, like, you have no idea. For me, doing what I'm doing right now is me being around people. If I don't do this, I'm never out unless I have meetings that I have to go to, and mostly it's like Zoom calls. But because of that, I changed as a human being, and I have a lot of friends that are very mad at me because they're like, "Where are you? Why are you not here? Why don't we hear from you?" But it's such a spiritual transformation that I cannot explain.
Because you're holding space for yourself. You know,
Right.
when we're ambitious and spunky and we
Right.
want to conquer the world and we don't have a lot of health problems,
Yeah.
we don't feel the pressure of finances
Right.
because we don't even know what adulting is like when
Right.
you're growing up. Younger people want to grow up fast, and the older people say that youth is wasted on the young. So,
Oh my God, I love that.
yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Because they all look back and say, I wish I would have done this and I wish I would have done
Same.
that. So I think that women have a big responsibility because whether it's puberty or perimenopause or menopause, we're always dealing with our hormones and we're dealing with the changes that happen in our body. And sometimes it's really hard to be your own friend. So over a period of time, you have to be more compassionate, kinder. And I think that your longest relationship is with your own self. And most people, they treat their bodies, and me too, treat their bodies like a landlord that irritates you that you don't want to pay rent to.
That is so
And then we give ourselves a really hard time for not going to the gym or
Right.
but I've never punished myself for eating something. I have a very healthy relationship with
I love
food.
that.
And going back to your earlier point that I think it's okay to hold space for yourself.
Right.
Your friends should understand that you're hiding. However, people will check up on you.
Yes.
And they will call you once, you don't answer, they'll call you twice, they'll send you a message, and then they'll show up
They show
at
up.
your doorstep.
Yeah.
And that is the importance of having a force field. Your force field will see the darkest parts of you and lovingly caress them.
Right.
Whereas you will punish yourself because as an overachiever, you're very hard on yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
And nothing is good enough. But sometimes, even if it's not perfect, it's okay. My mentor told me this morning, you've had a really big week. And she knows that the last 6 months have been very hard for me. And I said, yes, but I wish that I was doing things a little more productively. There are days when I won't get out of bed if I get triggered by something because I'm working on myself, I'm healing. And she said, Anisha, the best leaders hold the strongest things weakly.
Oh.
So I said, I'm going to use that in my podcast, Sophie. She's like, yeah. She says it's a Japanese proverb. I think as women, we have a lot of circles, friends,
Right.
our relationships, our husbands, family. And traditionally, it's women who hold it all together like adhesive.
Right.
But we forget what our needs are. We don't choose ourselves. And it's when you start choosing yourself, you'll see that it's a completely new person. It's as if you don't even know this person, but it is you. So there's a lot of push and pull between the shadow, the ego, and you. And that's what I've learned in the last 15 years.
And isn't that why and how you created Secret Skin?
I created Secret Skin out of frustration.
Okay, because I really want to get into that because, as you know as well,
I'm
like,
going to try this.
does she have to like a little bit?
Not bad.
She said that she doesn't really like matcha, and then Dia was like, "No, try it. It's really good, and it's actually really, really good,
This is nice.
right?
Yeah. Thank you.
So good." So I wanted to ask you. So as you know, I have my own beauty brand and my own skincare brand. And when I started, and I talk about this a lot, I started with the cat eye stamp 8-9 years ago, and because of that, I was fortunate enough to work with top chemists in the industry, with top manufacturers. And I remember I got a few deals where I knew that if I take it, I have to kind of sell myself. And what I mean with that is like sell the ethical side and the product itself, like the quality of the product, because a lot of people don't know what it takes to create a product. And that's my passion. Like being in the lab and creating is my passion. So when I decided like a few years ago, and that was like when clean beauty kind of just came in, but we really didn't talk about it. But I always said to my chemists and manufacturers, I was like, no, that's not good enough. Like I need the percentage of the key ingredients to be higher. I can't do this. I can't use that. For example, one of the products that we have is a face mist, and it has rose water. But the rose water is Bulgarian rose water, which is one of the best rose waters you can use, and is hand-picked and steam distilled. Like there's certain steps in every product that you create, and the ingredients that you buy. So I would talk about clean ingredients and all that like for years, right? With editors in the US, and it was just coming up. A lot of people, I feel like, and I want to hear from you because you're the, really behind this as well. First of all, I want to talk to you about like, what does it even mean when we say clean beauty? Because we can sell something right now and maybe next year that ingredient is not good anymore, right? So we have to go back and change it. Like, what does clean beauty mean to you?
I think if you start already with clean formulations, less toxins, safer chemical preservatives, because as founders, we have to have a balance because we're also thinking about shelf life.
Right.
We're thinking about positioning, pricing. We're thinking about what the packaging looks like. How sustainable is it?
Right.
In the US and UK and in Australia, this movement started much earlier, but it's taken some time to come to this region. I would like to think that you guys were waiting for Secret Skin to launch. So clean beauty as a construct
Right.
is an industry shift to choosing better ingredients that when they're absorbed by your bloodstream, they don't impact your fertility or your
Correct.
hormones. And in the past, there's a lot of mass-produced products
Right.
that have a high tox ingredient list that has dominated the beauty markets. But now there is no other choice, even for FMCG companies, to ensure that the health of the environment and the health of the consumer
Right.
is maintained. To the person who doesn't know what clean beauty is, they automatically feel it must be expensive because organic food is more expensive than the non-organic food.
Right.
Or it's not easily available, or it's not luxurious, or it doesn't perform as well as what you would pick from a shelf in a pharmacy.
Right.
All of these are misconceptions. If you're picking a product and you're turning around the box, we're in 2025, all the certifications are on the box.
Correct.
If you are going through a pregnancy journey, then you will be very careful about the ingredients that you pick.
Right.
If you see certifications that says organic or it says PETA, that means it's not tested on animals, then already you're making a really good start. If you start with your shelf, your bathroom shelf, something as simple as a deodorant, which doesn't have, carcinogenic elements,
Right.
those are important to start. You go to a salon or you're using a spray tin can, but if you choose a hydrosol over an aerosol, you know that you're not releasing CFCs that are
Correct.
destroying the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Do we know everything? No, we don't. Can we make small steps to start? We can. So, in the beginning, because the clean beauty industry is so unregulated, what's banned in Europe is not banned in the US, and it confuses the customer. So, my relationship with my community and people who buy Secret Skin is one of education and advocacy, that you can have a low budget but still make wiser, safer choices to be a part of the conscious consumerism that post COVID we are starting to see. And I think that that understanding and mindfulness is really very important. If we are choosing the most expensive and purest things for the baby, then why aren't we doing that for ourselves?
So let's go back to real quick about Secret Skin. And that's why I'm so excited. Because I am a very outspoken person and I'm a loud person, but you guys know that. I'm very frustrated with the beauty industry. Okay. Because a lot of people talk the talk, but the walking and combining the talk and the walk doesn't match.
It's also very hard. You stay authentic to something, then the
Yeah.
market will try and shift your
Yeah.
focus towards opportunities that are materialistic. But you stand your
Exactly.
ground and say no. Legality cannot be a proxy for ethics.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, it all comes down to the money. And I understand, like, everyone loves to make money. Even like we who have our own business and want to be clean and show that, like, everyone wants to make money. Got it. But what I would always get frustrated is like when I would have meetings with all these big retailers, they would always come back to me and they would say, like, oh my God, you're literally one of the best products we used, but blah, 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 right?
What was the blah, blah, blah?
Everything started to change when the label came out, right? So it's like, well, you're women owned, you're Middle Eastern, you're this, you're that. So let's make yourself like a minority. Let's, you know what I mean? Like all these labels. And I would say to the retailers, I would say, look, I have no problem representing who I am and where I'm coming from, but you're not selling me. I'm not in the store being sold. Like I'm selling good products. And if you're telling me that this is one of the best products that you ever used, then that needs to be in the shelves. And we would, we're going to be in big retailers soon. I can't say it now. Thank you. But back then I was like, I'm not going to mold myself to what you think I should be like, right? I feel like most entrepreneurs, when we start, we either do it for two reasons. Number one, money, or number two is to make a change, right?
I think that you can either earn money or you can earn experience.
Yeah. For me,
Sometimes when it goes together and you have the right partners, then you have an opportunity to take it forward.
exactly. And for me, it was like literally like I was obsessed with like ingredients and manufacturing and getting it and understanding and all of that. So, but sometimes, I just I did a solo episode the other day. And in that episode, I could see myself like how angry I would get because you have all these like dermatologists or trichologists who, when you follow them in the beginning, like you see like they really want to make a difference. But the moment the money hits, the moment they get supported by the big brands, right, that we sometimes fight against, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but like give them knowledge on, hey, we need to make a change, then they start to shift and you're like, wait a second, like 2 years ago you told us it's not a good thing. Now because you're getting paid to promote this, it's a good thing. Like it's all about, there's no ethic anymore in this industry. And I always said that as well. Like I was like, you know, we are so, and it's an important thing, sustainability. But I am more towards ethical, because it's great to have a sustainable product and packaging, but what if we're not ethical at the same time, right? So that was always my thing.
But I think when you look at these sustainability practices that a lot of indie brands use, from the packaging, the formulations, the whole user cycle of getting the
Right.
product into the hands of the customer, it is possible to make a lot of changes.
People
Now,
like you.
when you, and then people, I'm a
Yeah.
retailer. So when you look at a brand like yourself,
Right.
if you know that the ingredients that go into your mist, let's
Right.
say, is Bulgarian rose, but if you go down to the grassroots level, if you are promoting fair trade,
Right.
ethical farming,
Exactly.
there are the origin point
Yep.
of how a product cycle starts is very important for the
Exactly.
founder. I think in the past, because mass produced products have ingredients that are readily available, we've had a lot of influx of products that are not really great for your health, but they're popular and they're everywhere because there's a lot of marketing money that's
Correct.
going behind pushing them. And you have celebrities on billboards that are
Correct.
pushing them. Now, how do you raise, you're going to raise your little one in this environment where teenagers are being, you know, delighted by Sephora,
Right.
for example, even though Sephora is making a lot of changes now by having a lot more cleaner products
Right.
and brands, we have to be very careful with what we put in the hands of our little ones because they don't
So
know.
much.
So when this education starts right at the beginning, it's women
Right.
who give the right guidance to their children about manners, about life, about hope, about education. And so even when young girls start their puberty journey, it's always the mothers. So I think that mothers play a very big role in creating that community.
Right.
It does really take a village. But if your habits start out very early, then you're going to pass that on.
1000%. That's so big what you just said.
And what helps the fact that it's 2025 is that we have the younger generation that is not beguiled by the big marketing campaigns. They want to know the real value of what this brand stands for.
And do you think it's changing? Do you feel like, because nowadays a lot of people are still like you said, going after the brands who have a lot of marketing behind them. Do you feel like more and more people are even interested knowing about the ingredients and about sustainability, ethically sourced and clean?
That's not the first thing that people look for. If you look at the popularity of, let's say, Hailey Bieber's brand, and if you look at everything that is done in the digital space,
Right.
everything is about how you creatively market something, then it becomes viral and everybody wants it.
Right.
However, the longevity of how long that product is going to be used by the customer is a question mark. Because we'll buy something, it's like the Labubu. It's the classic representation of how bored we are. You know?
Right.
And something becomes a craze, and then everybody wants to have it
Right.
because it's the in thing, but then the flavor changes. So, how do you keep yourself consistently in the mind of the consumer is the way that you talk to them, the way you build your relationship, so that whether you're selling brand A today or brand B tomorrow, they're not coming to you for brands. Of course, they are, but they're actually coming because they have a loyalty towards you. Because if you bring something to market which has never, we're the first ones to build sustainable beauty and wellness in this region. We knew that no one spends more on beauty and personal care anywhere else in the world than the Middle East. We're talking $230 per capita spend, and a lot of this is for fragrance. While the big partners and the retailers are focusing on celebrity beauty, luxury skincare, there is a whole world of independent brands that someone like me wants to bring to the customer. Regardless of, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a company, it needs to make money. But then you can make money in a lot of ways, but the opportunity to be a part of something bigger than yourself, where you're creating a wave and a change. First, it was an idea, then it became a movement, and now it's a community. It's thrilling.
It's beautiful. Okay, let me put you on to my new little obsession, Thai cocoa. Honestly, it's more than just coconut water. It feels like self care in a bottle. It's 100% natural, super hydrating, and packed with electrolytes. So, whether I've just finished a workout, had a long day, or simply wanted something refreshing, it's my go to. And the best part, it tastes amazing. Like cracking open a fresh coconut on the beach. With Thai cocoa, I'm fueling my body and giving it something it actually loves. Now, for everyone who doesn't really know what Secret Skin is, I am a huge supporter. I love it. I love everything that you stand for. Just meeting you today for the first time, I feel like I've known you for so many years. And the vision and the passion that I see, like the moment you walked in, we started talking, and I kept telling her, "Stop talking. I need to record it. Stop talking." What is Secret Skin, and why did you decide to go after? Because in this podcast, I mean, I can talk to you about clean beauty and skincare and makeup and all that all day long. But the main focus for this podcast as well is like what I love about your story is, you know, with how you grew up, with the sickness that you had, with coming to a new country that you didn't know before, really, not knowing a lot of people, making it, and being the first one who really is opening up something for a lot of people who don't even know that they need it. So I want to know, first of all, what is Secret Skin, why you decided, and how hard. Like, I want to know truly, no fluff. I always say this to people. I say, don't sell me the dream, sell me the reality. Like, how was that?
I don't think you can create reality if you don't dream. And a founder's job, it's in the job description. Your plan is very unrealistic, but if you are intentional about creating
Right.
something that's different, and if it's aligned to who you are as a person, then every first step you take, another step will appear in front of you.
Right.
Someone to help you and to propel this will also appear. You just have to keep having faith. And we lose faith a lot.
Oh my
Honestly, we lose a lot of faith. But then there are other people who believe in you at the time when you don't even believe in yourself.
Right.
And that's why you need the force field. I keep talking about the force field because in order for us to realize our dreams, being a visionary is a very lonely place.
God. Right.
We need to have a support system. We need to be able to ask for help. I would find it very hard to ask for help, especially in the last 6 months.
Why the last 6 months? What happened in the last 6 months?
I've had lots of shifts and changes, professionally, financially, personally, and I'm in that in between stage now after 7 years. When I say 7 years, I mean, I was working on the company 6 years ago. I had just moved here. I moved for love and fresh air. I realized the air is not as fresh as I thought. And the love is abundant. It may not have started out that way, but I think that it was also conduit. I was meant to be here. I was meant to create this. And I struggled to find work because I was working at Amazon. When you work at Amazon for 5 years, there's nothing that you can't do.
Right.
And I was a part of the team that built and launched fashion and beauty for India and Australia.
Amazing.
And it's a tough environment, but if you can crack it and you can thrive in it, then you can do anything. I really believe this. In fact, I was joking at the competition that you can take the girl out of Amazon, but you can't take Amazon out of the girl, because everything that I've built with Secret Skin pretty much has that blueprint. I wanted to create something where women like me could find products without having a trust deficit.
Right.
And when I look at my own journey, and in the last, it was 10 years at the time, coming up to a decade of being cancer free. And once you hit 10 years, then you have very low chances of it happening again. So everyone who's sick looks forward to hitting the 10-year mark. So it's coming up to 10 years when I moved here. And the roles that I was interviewing for, they were very restrictive in their opportunity to contribute, and they were very limited in their sphere of influence. And I was frustrated. I didn't have regional experience, so I wasn't getting great hits, even though I went to a fantastic school and worked at a great company. It was very difficult to get a foot in the door. And at the time, I said, maybe it's time for me to do something else.
Right.
And my partner said to me that maybe you've broken the mold and maybe you can't work for anyone else and you need to. We didn't know COVID was going to happen.
Right.
So I start working on this idea and I take $1,200 and I start ordering from the US and the UK a clean product, something that has organic ingredients, as small as that. That's the minimum requirement. It takes 2 weeks for the product to reach you, and you spend 50 to 70% over in shipping and customs. There's no local customer care. So if you're unhappy with the product, then it's a lost cause. So the entire process was labor intensive, time consuming, cost prohibitive. And I said, this doesn't make any sense. What if I just spoke to a handful of brands and launched them? What if I took a handful of brands and convinced them to launch in this region, and I just loaded them on Shopify? And that's how it started. I launched with 7 brands because I was in my living room sitting at my dining table, having just incorporated the company on the 22nd of February when Dubai went into night lockdown. And I said, I just sold all my Amazon stock to launch the company. I said, oh my God, what did I just do? But, like a mole that burrows and burrows and burrows, launched on the 7th of October, will be 5 next month.
Wow.
And launched with 7 brands. Alhamdulillah, grew to 54 brands. We now have 17 locations in 5 countries. We work with the best retail partners here, from Majid Al Futem to Altair to Shaloub to Nisa. It was my dream to not compete with them because we could never compete with them, but to collaborate with them. And I think that has shifted. You asked me earlier what has
You
shifted.
said something as an entrepreneur right there. It's so good. You said you didn't want to compete with them. You wanted to collab with them because you know how big they are. I think that is so powerful what you just said.
I think we should go with the wave.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you tell yourself, even when life is hard, and I know we're shifting topics, but the more you fight something, if it's not being released, then you just need to wait and let it flow over you.
Right.
So be like water. Water takes the shape of anything that you pour it into. So sometimes just staying in the moment and processing it and letting the winds change is important instead of fighting it.
I love that. I love that.
You're catching me on a good day.
No, you're really good at this. This is exactly why I wanted you to be
Thank you.
here. Like, I love how you think, and I love that, like you're really owning the space. That is it's so beautiful. Like, you have no idea. It's so refreshing.
We were told that I should expand into other categories.
Right.
But then when I'm a bit of an investigative journalist when it comes to these things, because I need to be on top of things. I'm running a business which is very fast paced. We're very young. We don't have the budgets or the manpower to grow to our vision, but we're doing things slowly, meaningfully,
Right.
and sustainably. We didn't want exponential growth because data tells you that everyone who's had an exponential growth has spent a lot of money on acquisition and yet then become a victim of itself,
Correctly.
blown
I
up
agree.
internally.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to ride that wave.
Right.
And I think that in the last 4.5 years, we've consistently shown up with our authenticity. We've consistently tried to shape the way people think. And in me going out there and talking about how important this is, not from a vanity point of view, but from a humanity point of view,
Right.
it's important to have that kind of communication flowing so that there is more awareness.
I love that. So how is it going for you now with Secret Skin? Like, where have you guys now positioned yourself? Like, are you seeing like more and more customers? Like, how is that going for you? Like the growth?
So we saw very high incidence of people coming back in an industry where the repeat rate is 25%. We've always trended on 56%.
Right.
And when we look at the data around us, the average order value of what our retailers have, for example, Sephora, our average order value has been significantly healthy from the beginning. However, you look at your customer database and you say, well, this is still a small pie. Who has the largest customer databases? All the retailers that we work with. My ability to access more customers comes when I collaborate with them, when I
Right.
engage in delight and use opportunities for the customer to sensorially experience the product. So we shifted to bricks and mortar because in this region, retail is king, and it's traditional retail where you have physical stores.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So these are not secret skin stores, but when you walk into the stores of the biggest retailers,
Okay.
you find our products there.
Oh, I see. Got it.
We distribute, you see.
Amazing.
So today's
Yes.
Secret Skin, we started out as a D2C online platform, same day delivery, local
Right.
fulfillment. CNN interviewed us for our robotic fulfillment center right at the beginning because during COVID that was important.
Right.
And over the years, we've pivoted, we've added more categories. We saw a huge influx with Korean. We found that customers in Saudi were buying really expensive products like Augustinus powder, but in their basket, they were also putting in a Korean face wash.
Right.
It's really interesting to see these data points because it helps you shape the journey for the
Right.
customer. I think from the tech part, the customer experience, the delivery experience, everything has to be very tightly knit so that it's integrated at the back end. Because if you have any gaps, then your customer experience won't be as tight. So I had to really be very determined about making sure that the experience was uniform, that it was consistent.
Right.
So we have found a lot of opportunities by working with a lot of partners. The customer database is growing.
Right.
Our retailers want us to bring more brands into the region because we are now known as the largest distributor for clean beauty and wellness, because we do things that other retailers won't do. Mama, baby, and pregnancy supplements. 17% of our customers are men, so there's a huge influx of people wanting to buy very basic things because
Right.
men are very simple. Like, the way they buy something and the way women buy something,
So different.
so different. We want to
different.
be seduced and we want to read and we want to look at the DIY videos and,
Take us out to dinner.
you know,
Do all of it before we buy. Yeah, I know.
I think that buying fashion and beauty is a very personal decision.
Yeah, of course. Especially, I would say, skincare. How, if people are watching now, like when people are watching now, like how or why would you say to them, you know what? Because I always say, you know, whatever you buy now is the investment you made for your future, right? Yes, there's a lot of cheaper products that are good that also actually work, but because you come from a retail side, I come from the manufacturing side, right? So I know everything that goes into manufacturing, and I don't have to tell you this. The more percentage of the key ingredients that you put in that is safe from the FDA, it's let's say from the US, is how it really helps. And the more key ingredients you put in, the percentage, the more expensive it's gonna get. Then you have the MOQ and all that. There's a whole process into creating a product. And like you said, for me right now as a pregnant woman, like I look at my product and I'm like, damn, I'm so proud of the team and all of us that created this, because now I can actually use it and I don't feel bad about it, right? So, but that was for me because I am in the industry and I know where we are going and what the shifts that we're making. Internally, we're making a huge shift for next year, which I'm really excited about. And we want to go more into the educational route as well. Because how many more videos should we watch? How-to videos and like brand deals and traveling and all that. It's nice, but I feel like we need to bring the education back, like you said.
I think the world that we live in with the innovations in technology, it's a huge opportunity for beauty brands to level up in the way that they're reaching their consumers.
I agree.
Um,
Yes.
let's keep the hype on the side for a while.
Right.
What's hot today will not be hot tomorrow.
Right.
But the way that we're shaping the consumer's experience when they're shopping with you is where AI comes in.
Right.
And in the beginning, it was all about AI recommendations of what products you should buy. And because of the
Right.
the upselling feature, you would find more products, and then it would have a history
Right.
of what you buy, so that we're able to retarget and send you products
course.
which are on the same profile as what you
Right.
would shop for. Now, a lot of this stuff is easy because if I use a Google A9 report, and I do have an unfair advantage because I went to the school of Amazon, I didn't just drink the Kool-Aid, I swam in the Kool-Aid. It's very easy to give your value offering when you know the customer's typing hyperpigmentation, pregnancy safe, dry skin.
Right.
All of this is very easy. So when I moved here, I thought a lot of things that were being done. Of course, everyone was talking about digital transformation. We didn't know COVID was going to happen. COVID forced dinosaurs to be dragged into the digital age, kicking and screaming. A lot of companies wound down. A lot of companies came alive.
Right.
Secret Skin is a COVID baby. So there was a lot of very interesting shifts at the time. But I think now we have the opportunity. It's unnerving. A lot of millennials struggle with, okay, how am I going to use this large plethora of AI to help build what I'm building?
Right.
Job seekers are scared that AI is going to take over my job.
Right.
A lot of this is fear and paranoia when you don't know very much.
Right.
However, to use it positively to drive change for impact is what's going to be important. How can I make it delightful for you if you have a 7-year-old, for example, because my goddaughter just turned 7, and she loves these little tubes because we have these lip lights from RMS, which is a brand that we have. And because I don't wear a lot of makeup, but she loves the fact that I'm always putting, a little bit of the tubes on my lips, and she copies everything that I do. She's super cute. She lives in Singapore. And I'm happy to be able to give her these tubes because I know that they're not going to spoil her skin.
Right.
And it's educational, but I'm not going to use technology to delight a 7-year-old. However, if I have a database of about 8,500 people, and what we're building is an AI toolkit which sits like Lego blocks for engagement and conversion, where people can keep track of their purchases. So there's a loyalty program. It's about using the easy, low-hanging fruit features of technology in order to shape that consumer experience. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be super light. And, it's about being on brand and doing a lot with less.
So what is important to me to understand, because again, like I have always this argument with a lot of people. They're like, yeah, but what is clean beauty and all? It's like so many different things that a lot of people don't know what clean beauty means. But people watching right now, they now Googled Secret Skin. They're excited about it, but they're like, okay, but why should I go to you and buy the clean beauty that you're talking about if I can go to Sephora and get everything else, which is probably cheaper? Why should they switch to clean beauty?
If we go to the gym today, our muscles are going to build. and the
Right.
body will feel better. And there's a lot of science behind how you can biohack your way into living longer and healthier.
Right.
It works the same way. We can't afford to eat organic food all the time, and beauty and personal care is something that we use on the daily,
Especially women.
especially women.
Yeah.
Women use between 9 and 13 products statistically every
Right.
day from day to night. Men use about 3 to 7, depending on if they're going to the gym.
Right.
Right? Now, if you look at that, A, it's super expensive to be a woman. Maintenance is expensive.
Right.
B, don't go somewhere and buy a cheaper product, because even though if you can afford it, it's ruining your skin. You don't know if the ingredients are safe because they don't need to certify themselves if they're not in that direction. And whatever you put on your skin is going to get absorbed by your bloodstream and going
Correct.
to impact your organs.
Correct.
And there's a lot of data around how mass-produced products which have chemicals in them,
Right.
chemical preservatives in them, everything has chemicals.
You
So
need
it's about
it.
safer, no, but it's about safer preservatives
I feel
that
like
are
you
not
need-
heavy on the environment, and they're
Yeah.
not heavy on you. Because for us, fertility issues, hormone issues, skin
Right.
damage, this is all a result of what we're putting
Right.
inside our bodies through
Right.
eating and what we're putting on our skin as a beauty product.
Come on, let's be real. Who in this world is right now living an organic lifestyle? There's so much chemical out there. You need a balance between both, right? So we need good chemicals in products. For example, what are good chemical products? The preservatives, right?
I
that
would
we
say
put in.
preservatives, right? So
Correct.
so we have a very high bar on what products are allowed to be sold on Secret Skin, because we have a due diligence. We look at the ingredient
Right.
reports. When I see phenoxyethanol, which is really important
Yeah.
as a preservative for shelf life,
Right.
I will always ask for what percentage.
1,000%.
Secondly, if a brand is making a formulation, you can
Right.
use sheer, or you can use potassium sorbate.
Right.
It'll give you the same shelf life, and it'll make your product safer.
Right.
There are very many ways of doing this. Now, you need to work backwards from your goal. What is your goal? That's why the indie brands start micro batching when this movement started.
Yeah, of course.
But then they also know that it's hard for supply if you work with a really big retailer, because then you will have to produce a lot of stock.
Right.
I think that it's a delicate balance. I don't have a brand, but there is something that I'm very excited about, which we are building for Secret Skin as a private label.
Amazing.
It's
I
going
can't
to
wait.
be in the intimate health space for women.
I'm excited to see that. Oh my God.
I've been manifesting it.
You can't tell us what it is?
No, not yet.
People, I tried.
Not yet.
Tried.
But I already gave you a lot of clues.
Yeah.
Intimate health.
Yeah.
I think that it's important to stay very close to what you're trying to create without getting distracted.
Right.
Once you start doing well, there will be a lot of opportunities. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? As a founder of a young company, you have to be very frugal with what you're spending on and how much you're spending. So you don't have a lot of room except to be creative in the beginning. So you start small.
You know what's so interesting? Tell me if you agree with that or not. But all these people, okay, yes, we have expensive products and then we have cheaper, right? But I would say the people who keep buying cheap products are investing more money than if you, on the long run, if you buy the good, expensive products from the beginning. The difference when I see, that I see that with the clothing brands or with, social media. The problem is everything is accessible and no one wants to be seen in the same outfit, right? When you do a video, you don't want
That's
to.
not true anymore.
I feel like it's
I'm a
still in
serial
my
repeater.
industry, huh?
I'm a serial repeater.
I
I'm a serial repeater.
and I love that. I really, really love that. But with a lot of influencers, and especially the young ones, they don't want to be seen in the same outfits over and over again. That's the same thing with the beauty, I would say, and makeup especially. It's like you want to have, you don't want to have. I think it's, sorry for my language, but I think it's stupid having 40 different lipsticks or having all these eyeshadows and these
I don't think
palettes.
people do that anymore.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, yes.
Unless they're a makeup artist.
Oh my God, no. I have a cousin. She's
I wouldn't
17.
know. I can't do it, so I wouldn't know.
Oh my God. I work with these girls, and my cousin who's 17 years old, like I look at her stuff, I'm like, the hell do you need all of that? You know what I mean? But to me, it's like, I feel like, you know, it's very much important to have people like you in this industry, you know, like to stay in your lane and not to be a sellout and not to be like, you know, people coming in with money, I'm sure coming in trying to invest in you and trying to tell you how to
Where
run your
are
business.
they? Can we find them? Can we find them today in this podcast?
They will come. They will come with what you're doing and where you're seeing it. And I absolutely agree with you. It's like we're seeing it very similar to where this industry is going. It's just people, we need people to wake up a little bit more and a little bit faster. You're killing me, especially. But what do you see in the future for Secret Skin?
Before we get to the future of Secret Skin, I want to highlight something that you said earlier about there not being so much awareness because there is a lot of confusion. Because the beauty industry is a very addictive industry. The reason why people have so many of these products and we can't understand it because we don't is because whenever there is something that is hyped, they want them. It's about aspiration. It's like a badge. Because when the Rode lip product came out that you could attach to the back of your phone, it was a fad. It's like the Lulus, Labubus,
Labubus, yeah. I think
Labubus
so.
that are being attached to bags.
Right.
I think that it's fun and cute if you don't let it overtake you. That
Right.
desire to own everything that comes out or try everything that comes out. It's very wasteful.
Right.
I think that we must remember, especially because you and I have the responsibility of shaping a consumer perception about
Right.
what we do, that the multi-million-dollar beauty industry is fueled by fear. If we were never taught that we need 70 products a day to make something that we have look better, then we wouldn't use them.
Right.
I know this because of my Zizu, my Zia, my godchild, that we are very, she and me, her mom and me, are very particular about not telling her that there is a Snow White comes alive because there's a prince that kisses her. The Disney stories of Beauty and the Beast. And, it's a very different kind of mindset of not needing more
Right.
that the world is throwing at you, which you must consume by spending.
Right.
And it's feeding an insecurity for your hair, for your skin.
Yeah.
And that is what fuels the industry. Now, the reason why I call my business Secret Skin, why? Because firstly, I'm a marketer. And if you have the word skin in your brand name, it's the most searched keyword
Right.
for a beauty consumer. And secret, because the secret part of us as women, we hide it from the world. But that's the purest and the strongest part of us. So it's about using less and being beautiful in your own skin and coming
I love
out
that.
and embracing even your imperfections. That's what I do. I'm scared of a lot of makeup. I don't know how to use it. I'm crap at sorry for my language, at a cat eye. You were talking about a cat eye earlier.
That's
And
why I need the
I'm-
Cleopatra cat eye stamp. Go ahead.
I'm very open about what I can't do well, but there are things that I can do well, and
Right.
I do them well.
You know, I'm gonna say something that I will never be a part of, and I always, if you know me, you know that I never use the word hate. Okay, especially as a spiritual person, I don't like to use that, but I feel like it's appropriate to use it today, and I truly hate everything that stands for anti-aging. I will never, ever, there's not one single cream, not one single patch, not one single anything that is going to help to lift your face unless you do surgery. Because here's the thing, if you even just look at the words like anti,
It's like they hate women.
Yeah, they do. And I
So
think we
aging
hate
is considered as a negative
something
thing. So it
bad.
should be pro-aging. I have,
Do you know how the blessing? I'm sorry, I just turned yesterday. I turned 39. Thank you.
Mine's next week.
Oh my God. I knew I liked you. So I turned 39. It's my last year of being my 30s. And I am beyond excited to be 40 next year. Because the thing is, I don't need to compete with the 20-year-old. I am married. I am good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to compete. I believe in plastic surgery. If this is how you feel and this is what you want, go for it, right? But I'm not going to promote it, but do whatever you got to do. It's a freaking blessing to be able to wake up in the morning and getting another freaking day. So who are you to tell me anti-aging and all that
You
stuff?
know, it's interesting when I'm in, let's say, networking events and someone introduces me, Anisha's a beauty founder. So immediately, and this usually comes from older men, usually it is, oh, can you make me look younger? Right? And I say, no, but I can help preserve where you're at right now.
Right.
Because aging is not a bad thing.
Right.
So you have to disarm them with something that they've been carrying a long time because of social conditioning. Honestly, when I was growing up, and I'm sure it's the same for you as well because our cultures are similar,
Right.
my mom would put cream
To make you lighter?
and butter on while boiling milk on her face. And I would say, that is disgusting, you stink. And if I have that skin when I'm her age, I will really consider myself blessed. If you look at the way beauty started, everyone was a kitchen beautician,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so we need to go back to nature.
Right.
And use harness the energy of technology and innovation as
Right.
we're advancing, over the years, to stay within that
Right.
construct
Right.
and not have it diluted, because otherwise, where does it stop?
Right. No, I agree. Let me tell you, like, I can really talk to you for hours. Like, I've been following you now for a long time. I think just now, almost 2 years, I started following you. And I read a lot of things about you and, everything that you stand for and your story. And just sitting here now talking to you, first of all, I hope this podcast today proved to you that you're meant to be in front of the camera and on stages all around the world. Because women like you are very important. I'm not just saying that. Like, it actually takes a lot for me to say this. Just your passion, and I know that you're going to be, I just know you're going to be one of the most successful women. And I know the investors are going to knocking on your door real quick and very soon. And I hope you wake up in the morning and know, yes, even though it's a business at the end of the day, but you still chose a business where you're making a change.
I go to sleep at night asking myself whether I did everything possible in my control that I was happy with. I wake up every morning thanking the universe for everything that's coming my way and hoping that today will go well.
Oh, I love that. That was so beautiful.
I try to do this every day, but I'm like everyone else. I get crippled by anxiety. There are days when I will put my phone on airplane mode because I want to isolate. Everyone has those days.
Right.
When that happens, you got to give yourself time and hold space for yourself. I keep saying that. You got to hold space for yourself. You don't have to explain it to anyone why you don't want to go to the event or why you don't want to pick up the phone or why you simply don't want to do what is expected of you.
Right.
So be in defiance of that, because the only person that you answer to is yourself.
I have so much love for you. Swear, that's not the last podcast we're gonna do together. I need you back. So you guys, I just want to say, Anisha, Thank you so much for being here. I want you to tell everyone where they can go shop on your website. Tell them where they can find you on the socials. If you can, would be amazing.
So the platform is called www.thesecretskin.com. And the Instagram account, which I'm sure you will show it on your piece, is the.secretskin. And thank you for having me. This is a very important juncture in my life. And there is so much that I want to do with Secret Skin, but I need a lot of support. We've been incredibly lucky, but we've also worked very hard because we were picked to be a part of the Riyadh Techstars Accelerator program. It's a 1.5% acceptance rate. And we raised $1.5 million from amazing investors. And that's how we've been able to come to this point. But now, what brought us here will not get us there. So I'm waiting for the universe to open up and send me someone.
Listen, you guys know what we got to do, okay? We know a lot of people, so let's make this happen. And I also want to say a huge thank you to Dips Cafe for hosting us today. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people who work here. And I am just so blessed and excited that I'm able to do this, meet people like you. It's such a beautiful journey. And of course, I have to say thank you to our biggest sponsor, Thai Cocoa. As you can see, it's already empty. And isn't it one of the best coconut waters?
I really enjoyed it.
Woo! So thank you so much to our amazing sponsors. And this podcast, we're growing. As she said, we can't do it all alone. We need you guys to support each other and uplift each other. And so, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for today.
Thank you for having me.